What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
All right, bright and early on a Saturday morning, everybody. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning. I'm Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Good morning to everybody riding up early in the vehicles or listening to me at the house or wherever on Talk 107.3 FM. And everybody else that are listening and watching on our YouTube and Facebook Live, good morning. Be sure to keep up with the Jaguar Journal across all social media sites, X, Instagram, Facebook. Guess what? You can head over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We also on TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Twitch TV, as well as Spotify. So I've gotten all this stuff memorized, Mike. You see, I used to have that sheet. We own all of that. So whatever you seem to like to watch, whatever, or listen to whatever, we're pretty much on it. So we hope that you go find the Jaguar Journal. It's simple. Just type in the Jaguar Journal, and you'll be able to keep up with us across all of those sites, social media, listening, and everywhere else on top of just right here every Saturday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. if you want to do it live with us, as well as, this is a call-in show. So not only does it have the side, well, what I like about it, social media give us now the comment section. The comment section, for those who listen to the show and don't necessarily keep up with it on YouTube or Facebook, adds a whole nother dimension to the show, in which I love to see the conversations of the people in the comment section. Because a lot of times you're talking, you're just the background noise as they're having their full-blown convos in the comment section. So as always, and then as well as the callers, I always enjoy the callers. I know I talk to a lot of people who often say, man, I listen to the show, I just never called in. And I always tell people, call in. If you don't have nothing else to say good morning, or you want to give a birthday shout out, or I don't know what it is. You may just want to say go Jags, whatever the case may be. This show is not for Perry White. This show is for the people. Perry is just a vessel to be able to get the people on, to be able to speak what you think, how you feel. And then I give my perception and my opinion on it as well. And then we can make it work from there. So that's what I want to say. And good morning to everybody out there. And thank you for the continued support. The show is continuously growing each and every week. As you see, I got, for those that are watching, on the YouTube and the Facebook. I got my officiating shirt on. I got to go officiate some games, 7-on-7 once I leave here over at Woodlawn today. The Randall Passing Academy is having a 7-on-7 tournament today and tomorrow, so I'll be officiating over there. So as soon as I leave here, I got to head there as games crank up at 9 a.m. today, so I'll be running a little behind once I get done here with you guys. But, yeah, don't be alarmed if you're watching on the YouTube and the Facebook. That's what it's about. I'm in here with my officiating. Now, the people on the radio don't know, so I gave it away for y'all that don't know. But for the people that's watching, that's what's going on. And good morning to everybody. Glad to have you guys with us. I'm giving away some baseball tickets, man. I've been trying to, if anybody's seen me lately, I've been giving away baseball tickets, and I'm doing my best to get some butts in the seats. Southern University. I got one ticket today, one ticket left for the game versus Morehead State. Anybody want to go to the Southern versus Morehead State game today? I got one ticket left, 225-499-1073. It's at 3 o'clock today. Then on Tuesday, I got tickets for the Southern and McNeese game. I have 4 tickets for Southern versus McNeese. And as you know, McNeese just knocked off LSU during the midweek game this past week. So they're going to be coming to Baton Rouge, taking on our Jaguars, who just knocked off Morehead State yesterday. So Southern with its 3-game series this weekend with Morehead, 2 games left, and taking on McNeese State. So if you want to go to the baseball game over at Lee Hines Field, I got some tickets for you. Now, I'm trying to create some interest there. The interest has been tough. I'm not going to lie. It has been tough. But if you want to go watch Southern versus McNeese coming up on Tuesday, I have tickets, 4 of them. Please get them off my hand. I want you to go to the game. Coach Crenshaw and the fellas over there got it done last night. Now, the rest of the tickets for this weekend, they're gone. I got one today for anybody who want to sneak over there at 3 o'clock over the hump to be able to watch Southern versus Morehead. The other 4, once again, are Southern versus McNeese State on Tuesday, which should be a really good game of 2 teams from right here in the state of Louisiana. Good show lined up for you guys today. Of course, I'm going to get Coach Brittany Williams. She's a favorite of mine because, once again, we have been talking to her since she has taken over this program, and you can just continuously see her building the foundation and building to where it may be something there. We're gonna take the wait and see approach, but it may be something there. But I know one thing: whatever she's doing is working thus far, and we'll have her on to talk about that. SWAC basketball, of course. I know you guys want to talk about some SWAC basketball. Last game of the regular season today, Southern on the men's side with Bethune-Cookman, who's number 1 in the SWAC overall, and then Southern's women, who's right there knocking on the door. Of course, Alabama A&M still leading the way, but now we're talking about seeding. Where's all of this going to fall when we're looking at seed going into March Madness? And March Madness, of course, starts with the SWAC basketball tournament, which will be held over in Atlanta. So that as well. And then how about Southern University Nursing School? If Southern don't do nothing else, we can produce some nurses. We can produce a lot of things, but to be recognized as number 1, that's a huge accomplishment. So let's get ready to take a break, everybody. When we come back on the other side, I'll talk more Southern University softball and tell you what they did this week that really caught my attention, and I think it should catch yours when you think about this program moving forward. So stay tuned. We'll be back more to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
For the first time in the 79-year history of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Elite Championship game determines the overall champion today. Live from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, it's the champions of the East, Jackson State, taking on Southern, the champs from the West. Hello, everybody. George Johnson along with Charles Mann. And I got to tell you, a great poet once said this is the way it's supposed to be. And it is. Number 11 Southern taking on number 15 Jackson State. Both programs have won 3 SWAC titles over the decade. So it's only fitting in the first SWAC championship game we determine the program of the decade. We've got a lot of offense out on the field. And yet this guy right here, he's going to tell you this game's all about D.
It's always all about D, George. You know that. It's always all about D.
An all-pro defensive end is going to tell you that. When you think about Jackson Jackson State. This is a team that is very potent offensively, but defensively, they've led the SWAC throughout most of the year, and they've got the best player in defense in the SWAC, and that's Tommy Head.
Tommy Head. Get used to saying that name. You'll say it all day. He'll be all over the field. He's always around the football. He's the leading tackler on this team. He also has 5.5 sacks.
At one point this year, Southern led the nation in scoring defense. Then they ran into Florida A&M. They've got a lot of guys out there that can get it done. But at the top of the list is DeMarcus Miller.
DeMarcus Miller, the linebacker coach, Terrence Graves, told me there's one word to describe this kid, and that is relentless. He's only 5'10", 285 pounds. He makes a lot of plays, though.
Relentless, appropriate word for our third member of the broadcast team, and that's Joe Claire, who's standing by down on the sideline. Joe?
Yes, indeed. I'm down here on the field capturing all the pageantry and revelry that is black college football. Birmingham, Alabama is a lovely city. This is the inaugural SWAC championship in their city, so they came out to have a good time. I will be covering the bands, the cheerleaders, shout-outs, all of that kind of stuff. Back to you guys up top.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. You know, earlier this year, Southern beat Jackson State, the fourth straight win over the Tigers. But what's most impressive about Southern, they haven't lost a conference game in 25 outings. They put it on the line against Jackson State. We look at the starting lineups brought to you by Western Union Money Transfer, the fastest way to send money worldwide. You saw the backs. Here's your offensive line. Damon Nivens is a first-team All-SWAC member. Defensively, there's your starting lineups for Jackson State's defense. Chandler, Tommy Head, Edward Reese, pretty good middle linebacker. Rashard Anderson is a professional prospect, and they say he will be in the NFL next year. It is your starting lineup, brought to you by Western Union. Mark Washington is your quarterback, Destiny Wright, the all-time leading rusher in school history, is the tailback. Jeremiah Todd is...
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning. Glad to have you guys with us. I am Perry White. Good morning to everybody listening across the Baton Rouge capital city area on Talk 107.3 and everybody watching on our YouTube and Facebook Live. Good morning to you. Glad to have you with us. Got a very special guest. She's the head softball coach over at Southern University, and, of course, no stranger to the show, Coach Brittany Williams. Good morning, Coach Williams.
Good morning, and good morning to everybody listening.
How you doing this morning?
I am doing well. It's a day off, so I'm excited.
Of course, everybody enjoys the day off. And, you know, at this point, I don't know if we want you to take no days off because of the trajectory of the program. And let's go back to last week because you guys went out to Texas to play a few games against some teams and walk us through. We had a chance to talk to you Saturday, but then you had some games on Sunday as well against North Texas as well as East Texas A&M. Talk to us about the North Texas game and the East Texas A&M game.
Yeah, so we had to regroup after that Saturday. We had a team meeting, watched some film, and it was just the little things that we noticed we weren't doing. I told you my number one rule was to have fun, and I looked and we were jogging to our positions and it was pretty quiet, you know, on the field and things like that. So we focused more on those things on Saturday, and we hung in with North Texas pretty tight, and then we made some changes because those games are preseason, and I like to, you know, mix things up, and didn't end it like how we wanted to with North Texas, but our play was pretty clean, so I was excited about that. And then brought it into East Texas, and we got it all together in the hitting and winning that game. So the energy was there, the hitting and the defense was there. So we ended on a great note in Texas.
You know, we talked about it as Saturday came along, that 6-game win streak coming into it. You know, and one of the questions I asked is how you get a team back. How do you keep them focused? And it seemed like that was kind of a reset that was needed to get back on track.
Absolutely. I told you my girls are opposite. You have to boost their heads versus telling them to calm down, and then they see names and get a little nervous. And we had to remind them that, hey, we're Southern. Like, we're not afraid of anybody. I reminded them of what our women's basketball team did last year. They're fearless. So we kind of channeled that a little bit and went out there and played the next day, and it worked and got us into this week when we played Memphis, and, you know, no fear.
Yeah, you channeled that right into this week. I came out to check you guys out. I was along the outfield wall, but man, watching this game, the way that you guys took off, it was tied 4-4, and you guys chipped away big runs in the 6th inning. They end up pulling away from this one and closing this out in the 7th. A 10-4 victory over the University of Memphis Tigers, in which that's one of those rarities that we see on the softball side for Southern, because we don't see those, and I'm going to say the brand names because, of course, there's levels to this. And when you see the University of Memphis, you typically don't see that coming to Southern University on the softball side. But for me, Coach, not only was this a huge win, but I think this has to be one of the biggest, or if not the biggest, home win in Southern softball history, in my opinion, considering who the opponent was. Now, I'm not putting a lot on the University of Memphis, but aside from our conference foes and sometimes other teams, just the sheer fact that you guys were able to go out and not only just win this one, dominate 10-4 against the University of Memphis at home.
Yes, that was a key. Our motto this year is dominance mindset. I told them that we were excited about them coming to our field and seeing what we have, and being able to let them know, like, we might not have a lot, but we can still get it done. So, and that's exactly the statement that they made.
So on Wednesday night, I saw the University of Memphis coach, because she brought our team to TJ Ribs. That was the same
Yes.
time Coach Banks was doing his show, the Roman Banks show. And so when she came around, I spoke to her and talked to her. Then she was looking for you. So I said, let's find her. Didn't get a chance to see you at the time. She saw your husband and your kids, but I think you came around and had an opportunity to talk to her. But she was all cheers and smiling. Let me tell you, after that game, watching her walk out that gate, I said, what's up, Coach? She just looked at me and she nodded her head. You completely took all the energy, not out of the coach, but that team as well with that win.
Oh, man, I saw it when I was shaking their hands. And it's always an awkward position because that coach played ball with my sister. I was the little girl that was the back girl that rode the bus with them to games. And now playing against them, we just hugged each other after, no words.
I could see it. It was all in her face.
It was in her face.
Yeah.
She texted me and congratulated me, which was very nice.
Well, I love when the opponents walk away like that. That's how every team who comes into Baton Rouge should walk away looking the exact way I saw that coach's face. She was like, I don't even know why we came over here, But for you, I also saw, just to add more to it, I saw that your dad was being honored or mentioned. Talk about that.
Yeah, so, I read some of that stuff and I was like, man, I didn't realize he did all of that. He went to Southern. He was a grad of Southern, so he's a Southern alum. But before that, played ball at Zachary. And I would, hear people when I grew up and was like, man, your dad was such an athlete. So he was being honored for that. And then his coaching experience in Zachary. He took the football team, was undefeated, coached volleyball, basketball, like all the sports. And he's the one that trained us, getting us up Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. I was outside getting balls hit at me as hard as possible.
So it makes sense now. This is what the family does.
Yes.
And you got to shout your dad. What's your dad's name?
Vincent Perry. So Perrys are known in the Zachary area. Like I said, he was at Zachary, he was at Northwestern, he was at Northeast. So yes, very proud of him and proud to be his daughter.
So my first name Perry, last name Perry. Okay, I see that. Okay, all right, I get it now.
It's something about that name Perry, huh?
Let me ask you, for you and the young ladies on this team, give me some standouts. Right now you guys are sitting at 8-7 overall on the season. Drastic change from what you've seen in the past with this program. And once again, why I continuously love to have you here on the show, because people need to know what it is that you're building and what you're doing. But not just you, but these young ladies who's putting in the work. Give us some of those names of those young ladies that are stepping up this year and really helping you turn this thing around over at Southern.
Man, it is tough to be a freshman at a D1 level and come in and start and play and hold a position. So I do want to give a shout out to Prestasia White, who is our third baseman, who is leading the team in one of the top batting averages, batting in the fifth hole as a freshman, and from Louisiana. So repping the state and doing her thing as a freshman. And right behind her in the lineup There's another Louisiana standout right there from Bruley, Layla Clark. I always tease her. I tried to get Layla out of high school. She thought she wanted to go to William Carey and ended up transferring, being back home, and came to Southern. And now she's just hitting them out the park. Grand slams, home runs, being a standout in right field as well. So definitely want to shout those two homegrown ladies out. And also my pitching staff. They're doing an excellent job keeping us in the ball game and moving the ball around and keeping the balls in the park.
Just looking from where you at this year, a lot of softball left to be played, right? A lot of softball to be played. But considering each year you've been in this program, what have you seen that you are doing, that the culture is being built and that your staff is doing in order to get this thing turned in the right direction, like pulling off victories against the University of Memphis so far?
You have to invest, not just in the game, but in the total part of the athlete. I have some great alum. I want to give another shout out to Annalise Corona, who comes and talks to our team about the mental aspect of the game. She comes in, volunteers her time once a week to just sit there and let them hash it out. Like, we aren't there. She talks to them, making sure that they know how to handle the successful part of the season as well as the downfall of the season. So those things definitely help, and helping them with academics. Our academic team, I want to give another shout out to Miss Dillon. She's a part of the softball academics, and she makes sure that they have the tutoring, that the professors know that they're gone, and if they need to make up something, she's getting with them with their office hours and making sure that they can make up their work. So it's a holistic thing. It's not just us coaches at the softball level. It's to support people behind us as well that helps us keep it moving and keep it going. And when those ladies know that you care about them personally, they'll run through a wall for you.
Now, let's look at the week coming up. You guys will be traveling down to New Orleans on Tuesday, taking on Dillard. But then next week, it's going to be the big one on the road, taking on Prairie View. This has been a team that traditionally, as we've seen over the years, they pretty much have had their dominant way when you look at the SWAC. Your thoughts coming up with this schedule, going on the road and getting things started in SWAC play with Prairie View?
I'm actually super excited. I was telling my husband about this. At first, I was like, man, we got to play them twice. So we played them 6 times this entire season. And as you said, they've been known to, run the SWAC, as the people in the West say. They say that PV has the East sold up. But I just want to, I'm excited about having it in my own hands. So we get to play them 6 times. We're one of the few teams that can beat them. So we have the opportunity to put our own fate in our own hands.
I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. And if anybody's out there, if you have not been paying attention to Southern University softball, please begin to pay attention. Show up to games. Go support these young ladies. They're doing some things that I'm telling you, when something can catch your attention and turn your head, because you're not normally hearing about softball at Southern University. But let me tell you, Coach Williams and her staff and these young ladies are doing a great job. And if you were there to watch them dominate the University of Memphis on last Tuesday, you will understand that there's something special brewing on the bluff over there on that Southern University softball team this year. They're 8-7 on the season. I think they're a team to watch. And I can tell you, last year I covered the regional here in Baton Rouge. I got a chance to see the University of Nebraska, UConn, Southeastern, LSU, some really good softball on that side. But I'm telling you, from this point, I know some good softball when I see it. Southern's playing some really good softball. So thank you, Coach, for coming on this morning. Congratulations on the big win on Tuesday. And, hey, keep it going, keep them motivated, and let's continue to turn heads and get people talking about some Southern University softball.
I appreciate it. And I also want to encourage people to follow us on social media. So at SU Softball _. Sunday, we have a free clinic going on at Dick's Sporting Goods. So come out to that for ages 6 to 12. And then we do have our softball league. So if you have little ones 10 and under, come join us in our softball league. You get to learn from our athletes.
Thank you, Coach Williams. Enjoy your day off.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That's the voice of Coach Brittany Williams, the head softball coach over at Southern University. Let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back and continue more of the Jaguar Journal.
The excitement is in the air.
And again, he's going to throw the football. Completes this one to Daniel Guy. Guy stood on his feet. Guy's going to go in. Touchdown! Brian Reynolds will come in and attempt the PAT, which is up, and it is good. On the record books at Jackson State. This time, nothing doing, and here comes your man, DeMarcus Miller.
Yeah.
Miller led the club with 17 tackles for a loss, as Reynolds will set up for the field goal attempt. This one will be from 20 yards out. He's 3 of 3 between 20 and 29 yards out. Kick is up, kick is good. So we've come to the end of the first quarter with Jackson State leading 10-3. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again, throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes, makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. And every time you think Southern struggles, they come back, they make a play. They've done it all year long. Kick is up, kick is good. Second down and a yard to go. Again, they give it to Lewis. Lewis finds room. Lewis still on his feet. Lewis making a move to the outside. He's inside the 25, the 10, the 5. What a run by Ryan Lewis. 69-yard run for Ryan Lewis. And how about this? Kicks up, kicks good. Halftime, George Johnson along with Charles Mann. Southern trailed in this football game 10-7. Then they reel off 14 straight points, and they do it with the big plays.
And that's something that we didn't think would happen, at least from Southern's perspective. They've been able to methodically go down the field on people and win ball games, not the big plays. You saw the big play by Ryan Lewis running 69 yards, the nice throw by Terrence Levy. This is something that I don't think Jackson State thought they would see in Southern either, and they go into halftime down by 7 points.
Jackson State came in the best defense out of the SWAC. And if you take a look at the highlights, you will see that this club, and I'm talking about Southern, was really able to capitalize on a couple of miscues, and the big plays are the result of it.
And this is Daniel Guy with a nice stiff arm to Bradley Pittman there. And he runs that ball 36 yards inside for a touchdown and makes it 7-3. And then Terrence Levy, quarterbacking, throws a big bomb to Michael Hayes, who gets by Rashard Anderson and waltzes into the end zone for a 69-yard reception. And then the big run by Ryan Lewis, a scat back for Southern, races 69 yards for the score. And that's where it stands right now, 17-10. Southern is on top.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning. I'm Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Good morning to everybody listening on Talk 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area, and everybody watching on our Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Good morning. Be sure to keep up with the Jaguar Journal across all social media. We're on TikTok. We're on X. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Mike got us on Twitch TV. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. So I don't want to hear. I don't know where to keep up. We everywhere. And if you want, just tune in to Talk 107.3 FM, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. live on Saturday mornings with Perry White, my man Mike, and very special guest here in the studio today. He's the president of the Southern University Quarterback Club, my man Tremel Howard. Good morning, Tremel.
How you doing, Mr. Perry?
Go ahead and get loud with him, Tremel. Yeah, get loud with him. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How about you? It's a good Saturday in Baton Rouge.
It is a good Saturday in Baton Rouge, and you are a guy that's typically everywhere supporting Southern. I don't have any questions about you wearing some Southern gear. I know you're going to be Southern down, blue and gold, because you represent the Jaguars no matter where you at. But you got some other teams I just saw you that you rep, and I'm the same way.
Yeah,
everybody know when they come, I tell them, I got a favorite Confederate team, all right? It's the Arkansas Razorbacks.
And mine is Kentucky, so I get it.
Okay, so we got some Confederate teams. Look, you see Mike got his Razorback on today. All right, Mike.
Shout out to Coach Cal.
So, hey, I went to watch them when they came to Baton Rouge and put that whooping on LSU. But aside from that, let's talk about the quarterback club. Let's bring it in. Football season is right around the corner. Not only that, spring football, we got a new coach, Coach Marshall Falk. And I know you guys are going to be busy trying to ensure that they got everything that they need in terms of what you're able to help with. Talk to us about the quarterback club and what's going on right now.
Yeah, so the Quarterback Club is one of the longstanding organizations affiliated with Southern University, and our real primary job is to help and support football. We also support other sports though, so we've often been tasked with helping cheer and other baseball and basketball and whoever we can just to provide support. But we're a membership-driven organization, and we thrive off of members, and our membership and our fees go directly to supporting Southern University athletics. So I'm really excited about this upcoming football season. As you stated, we have a new coach. There's a in the air right now that's different about Southern University football, and so we're excited to do our part and help ensure that we win more than 2 games and that hopefully bring home a championship to Baton Rouge.
I got a lot of love for the quarterback club because when I first moved here, I didn't have a car. And the way I was moving, I rode the city bus. So I was able to get to school and back to where I was living. But at that time, I had started to write for HBCU Digest. Shout out to my man, Jared Carter, giving me that opportunity. That's what even got me into this space. And Chris Jones, who was the sports information director at the time, ultimately gave me my first, behind the scenes pass, sideline pass, and everything else to cover Southern. So on those away games, I couldn't go. But shout out to my man, Mr. Ed. He saw me one day, and he saw me at the press conference and everything. He said, "Man, you going to the game this weekend?" I said, "Man, I don't have a car. I'm not going to be able to go." And he always say, brother. He said, "Don't worry about it. Just meet." I think at the time it was at the Mini Dome, or if it wasn't the Mini Dome, it was off the Plank. It was one of those. I can't quite remember. He said, "Just meet. I'll take care of you." For 2 seasons, Mr. Ed made sure I was able to get to and from games, to not only cover it, but to be there. And shout out to the quarterback club because I rode that bus. Let me tell you, them trips, you got to be on the bus to know those trips. I don't know if y'all still turn up like that, but they was turning up on that bus.
Yeah, so we're in a new era of the quarterback club. We still have our bus trips.
Y'all listen to Tucker?
We listen to Tucker.
Because Tucker had the bus going.
We listen to Tucker, and we're bringing a different. I think oftentimes when you talk about like quarterback clubs and you talk about alumni engagement, oftentimes people think it's for like seasoned alum. And I think it's incumbent upon us, younger folks who care about Southern, to start getting involved with stuff like this. I think I've had for the first time some of my friends like, "I'm not riding no bus to a game," and now that they see what it's like, what the experience is like, a lot of them like, "Oh, when we going to this game? Are we going to this game?"
Yeah.
So it's important for us to like think about the bridging of the gap to bring more, because I mean, as you think about Jaguar Nation that we knew growing up, I'm from Baton Rouge, grew up in Baton Rouge. It's time for us to like re-energize the Jaguar Nation, and a part of that is involvement and showing up. And so that's why I go to games and I go, drive to Birmingham for a baseball game and stuff like that. People are like, "Are you crazy?" But it's up to us to carry the brand and the representation of our institution. And so that's why I do it.
And I feel that because you grew up in the Southern lore of the heyday. I saw it from afar.
Correct.
So for me, it was always, it was this feel. You knew when you played Southern. You started to see the flags come in town like the day before. You started to see the people eating at the restaurants, pulling up maybe to your liquor store, whatever the case may be. You know how it goes. When Southern fans show up, they're in town.
Correct.
And that's what I saw growing up on the outside looking in. And then, of course, anything else that I saw of Southern was the games that were played on BET or NBC in those times, and NBC with the Bayou Classic. But that was me seeing it on the outside. And then when I got here, I got a chance to be a part of it. And ever since then, you can't take me out of it. You can't talk me away from it. I'm Southern through and through. And I'm just like you. If I see Southern make it to a certain point, I'll hop on the road and get to wherever we need to get to support it as well. And we need that more from our fan base, I believe, and not just from the football aspect, but supporting athletics, and not only athletics, but as well as the academia side. And when you look at what the quarterback club is doing right now, what ways, if somebody's out there listening, how can they become a member and be able to help you guys and be a part of whatever this is that you guys are building to take to the next generation? Because I tell people all the time, there is a aging part of our fan base that, unfortunately, we don't like to use the word, but they're dying off. And that's the unfortunate part to it. So there has to be a new generation of young people like ourselves. And I say young, but they like to call us Unc. I ain't know. All right, I'm Big Bro.
I've accepted that.
No, don't you accept that.
I've accepted
it. All right. But, there's a aging population that can't sit on them buses for that many hours anymore. They can't walk up those steps to the games that much like they used to be able to, and do all that tailgating and everything else. So now we have to re-energize a younger fan base and alums to be able to be a part and carry on the legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's for me, like I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandparents grew up in Scotlandville on the backs of the bluffs, and so we could hear the band practice from my house. And so they're the ones who introduced me to the traveling. And so all the things that I used to do as a kid, I now do as an adult. So I used to travel with the quarterback club as a kid, and now I'm the president of the quarterback club, full circle moment. So I think for us, it's like we just have to keep doing it. And so to be a part of the quarterback club, we have two entities or two ways that you can do that. Southern University QBclub.com is our website. And we also have a page that's directly connected to the Southern University Foundation. And so membership is once a year, $150, and it goes directly to us supporting the institution. And so, it's important. I know for me, I used to take baseball season off. I used to didn't go to baseball games, and then I met a family who it was like, Trey, you need to come and whatever. And so ever since then, we've been attending baseball. And so I think going to games is more than just supporting the institution. It's literally the full makeup of what it means to be an ambassador for Southern University. I've met so many families and been able to connect so many people to resources by just attending games. And so it's our duty to show up for our institution.
Let's get ready to do this. Let's take a break, because when we come back on this side, not only is Tramel the president of the Southern University Quarterback Club, he's also serving on a committee that's looking to hire a new president for the entire Southern University system. So that's a conversation of his own that I think I would like to have for the people out there to get an update of what's going on, as well as there was a board meeting for Southern University system yesterday. So let's take a break, Mike, and we'll come back on the other side. Y'all stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal.
Washington second, but he's intercepted right there. This time the inside handoff,
and the ball was dropped, and Tommy Head.
Here's Taylor in the pocket, looking downfield and looking for Leroy Fields, and this one looks intercepted, and it is.
He's played a lot tougher ever since. And it's a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
It's
pass.
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable, Michael Hayes. Hayes now with 187 yards receiving, 169-yard touchdown, 181-yard touchdown.
And Southern's came up with all the big plays.
They lead by 14. And that one is intercepted by Darden. Darden looking for some room, and Guyan will finally drag him down, but we start the 4th right after this. 2nd down and 20 after the penalty.
Oh, you've got a man wide open.
Going into the corner. Touchdown! Reynolds attempting the point after. It's good. A 32-yard field goal. Kick is up. Kick is good.
This is a great football game.
We knew it would be, though. And Torrey Thigpen got us out of our seats.
And this is the punt return by Torrey Thigpen. We were just talking about we haven't seen him. He breaks 2 tackles and runs up the sideline. He has great blocking, but gets pushed out of bounds on about the 1-yard line.
And touchdown, Jackson State.
The game is a game of momentum swings. Snap is good. The kick is up.
On driver. Yes, sir.
The ball up to the big receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out of bounds at the 10-yard line. An I formation. Oh! Fumble Levy. He kicks it and falls on top of it.
Touchdown. Receiver that has not seen much action comes up big.
1st and 10. Washington over the middle, intercepted. On his own play of the game is Michael Hayes with 8 receptions, 266 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
And that was
the last one was unbelievable.
In the back of y'all, me and Doug about to go party with the rest of the people. All right, I see y'all.
And another interception. And there's Pete Richardson right there. Made the adjustments a couple of weeks ago against Grambling to beat Doug Williams' team. Makes the adjustments time in and time out.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning. I'm Perry White. Got my man Tramel Howard in the building. He's the president of the Southern University Quarterback Club, and he also sits on the committee that's looking to find our next system president. Talk to us about that, Tramel, the honor that you have to be able to sit and look for the next leader of the Southern University system.
Well, yes, I mean, I think it's a great honor to be invited to the table to sit on this particular committee, which is tasked with helping the institution identify the next leader of Southern University. I don't know if many people know, but in my full-time job, I do this work from the federal, state, and local levels across the country. And so my organization is a national organization, potentially tasked with thinking about education on an everyday basis. And so it's an honor to bring my experience, my expertise to this committee, and hoping us find a leader that will sustain and grow Southern University. And so happy to serve on the committee with a large, diverse group of people who are interested in ensuring that we find the right leader for our institution. So it's an honor. I'm glad about it, and I'm looking forward to the continued process as we go forward.
All right, I love the political correct side. I love all that. But in the history, it's always been said that things don't quite go the way that it should be in the right way. It's favoritism, it's chooses, it's picks. Is this different? Does this feel different? Because you know it just like I do. You grew up amongst Southern.
Correct.
You heard the rumbles of how things operate and the perception of the public when it comes to operation of Southern, especially when it chooses its leaders. And we've seen many leaders come and go. Ronald Mason, we just saw Dr. Shields. There have been plenty. But for you, does it seem different, especially with being a part of this, and you get to see, as they say, how the sausage is made?
Yeah. I do believe, I honestly believe it feels different. And like I told people, like, if you know me, I'm authentic to myself wherever I go in all the rooms that I enter into. And so this does feel different to me, because people have often said that the fix was in and all of this stuff. I don't feel like that at this present time in the committee. I think the committee is doing our duties to ensure that we get the right president. It's a process. And so I think sometimes when things are processed, people feel like, oh, it's just because, no, there's really a process that is going on. And so I'm confident that the committee will get it right. And there will be opportunities for the community to engage with the process. There will be engagement across the system for people and stakeholders to voice their opinion. There will be a website for stakeholder engagement, all of these things for stakeholders to engage. And what I tell people is, even if that's what you truly believe in your heart of hearts, you have to continue to show up. You have to continue to let your voice be heard. Even if you think it's going on deaf ears, you have to show up. You have to put it on the record. You have to say the thing that needs to be said. And that's me as a committee member. And so shout out to the chairman, Jason Hughes, who I think is doing a phenomenal job at just ensuring that we are part of the process, et cetera. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And all we can do is continue to be a part of it, continue to show up, and continue to vocalize and voice our opinions. But I do believe that as an institution, we have to get this right in order to ensure that our institution grows and sustains the way it needs to.
Yeah, because having a conversation with Dr. Shields here, he said his thing was transitioning the Southern system into, quote unquote, more of a modern institution, more of a modern system. And that really baffled me, considering I'm thinking I'm in modern times, but we as a system are not there as a whole. And I know a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on the Baton Rouge landmass campus, but considering Shreveport, New Orleans, and everything else apart with the Ag Center and the Law Center, we have to be able to take into account it's just not the Southern campus, which a lot of people just get caught up on. It is a system as a whole. Southern has a footprint across the entire state of Louisiana. And for me, I guess when I look at these short spells, right, of presidents, it's like, how are we ever going to grow when we don't have anyone? From what I hear a lot of times from the leaders, they spend a lot of time when they first get in there cleaning up a mess before they can even move forward. It seems like once they're ready to move forward, then they're out the door. So all they did was basically had enough time to clean up some mess before they was able to truly implement change to be able to take it to the next level. How do we find that leader, and what does that leader look like for you to be able to be in position long enough to help get Southern, not just clean up the mess, but then actually start to implement things that turns the Southern University system into, quote unquote, a modern university system?
Well, I think that's a great question. And it's a great question that you pose. And I think it's one that impacts and affects not just the Southern University system, but educational systems in general. Because if you look at the typical across the country, research shows that the typical superintendent of large school systems, only lasts like 3 years. And so when you think about transformational leadership, it takes 3 years just to get the buck rolling. It takes about 5 years to really start to see those changes. And so I agree that it's going to take some sustainability, and there has to be an understanding of how do you balance governance, which was our board is tasked with governing, and then the president who's tasked with like basically managing day-to-day operations. I think part of the issue with Southern in general is that we don't do a good job of narrating our own story. Mm-hmm. And so people around us are allowed to take ownership of our story. There are some great things happening at Southern University, but we often don't hear about the great things happening at Southern because we've allowed so many people to own the narrative around Southern. So part of that I think for whoever comes into task is like, how do you take back the ownership of the Southern story? What is Southern, and how do we tell our own story without letting the news media tell it, without letting like our critics tell it? And I think that's part of the issue for getting a leader to sustainability. And so sustainability is an issue across systems, but I do believe that if we want a long-standing leader, we have to set that leader up to be successful, put them in position to be successful, and to go out and carry on the mission of what we have tasked them to do.
And maybe stay out the way and let them do it their way. You know, it's a lot of times once again, I'm speaking for the people because the people talk.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of micromanaging, a lot of get out the way. If you've been doing it that way for so long, you keep getting the same results. Why do you keep getting in the way? And that's just what the outside people say. And, you know, when you talk about that, I was a little disappointed yesterday. I listened to the Southern University System board meeting, and board chair Tony Clayton got to the part of branding and marketing and how to take the institution further. I heard everything I needed to hear throughout the entire board meeting. But when it got to that lasted no longer than a minute because the information was not provided, nor was it ready to be put out for anybody to understand. I thought that was troubling, in my opinion, considering especially what I've been talking about with branding and marketing that people have been talking about. And that's just from a head coaching perspective in athletics. But now to talk about the system and the each individual school, and the fact that that was not a conversation that just went on and on. It was literally 1 minute with nothing provided. And should we wait to the next meeting? I thought that was troubling considering where we are right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you think about the age that we're living in, the modern day times that we're living in, we talk about social media, we talk about people getting or having access to information in a very, like a snap of a finger. It is imperative on our institution to understand, like, hey, what is our brand? How do we identify the brand? And how do we take that to the masses? You know, and so part of branding and marketing is that, to your point, is about the modernization of mindsets, not just the modernization of systems, but how do you modernize your mindset? And we have a lot of people, and not just Southern, but just people in place making decisions who have not necessarily modernized their mindset. And if we truly want to make Southern the best that she can be, we have to ensure that branding is like a priority, not just something that we talk about, not just something that comes up as a checklist item on the agenda for the board, but what is our brand? I tell people all the time, like, we are all the brand of Southern. And so when we go across the country, when you're in the airport, like when you're wearing a t-shirt, like, you are Southern. And so I think we don't do enough job of capitalizing on opportunities to represent our brand. For example, when our band was in California for the Battle of the Bands a couple of years ago, I felt like that was a key marketing opportunity to take where we were. The band has been a great brand for Southern University for a long time. So how do we capitalize and make that even better? And so I think that it's, you know, it's good that it's on the board agenda monthly to talk about. And I hope that we start to see answers. But if we truly want to make Southern the best that our institution can be, it starts with branding and marketing.
And let me tell you, at the end of the day, I don't care what nobody says. Athletics is great, but Southern's band carries the weight of branding and marketing for Southern University. I've traveled with this band from LA to Miami. Even, let me tell you, Mardi Gras through the streets of New Orleans, white, black, blue, brown, green, it didn't matter. When they saw that, you heard, oh, that's Southern. And you can see the excitement. It didn't matter the color of the kids. You can see them marching and drumming. Southern universities, especially the branding and marketing side, just look at the YouTube, look at the social media pages. We're talking about hundreds of millions of views that people are tuning into Southern. That within itself, it blows my mind, because what the hell else over there is going to generate, but everything else could if we put that same energy. And guess what? We have to utilize, as well as social media influencers that are students that are on that campus who understand this. You're talking about that modernized way of thinking. I see your social media. You understand what it is, and you see the popularity and what it brings to your brand, even when it comes to social media. I, as well as myself. And when it comes to branding and marketing, we got to understand this is the thing that I hate, because I found out a lot about Southern fans, some of them, when I made this mention about Marshall Faulk. We have this arrogance as though we think everybody knows about Southern University. And that is a problem to me, because there are plenty of people who look like you and I who've never heard of Southern or an HBCU a day in their life.
Yeah, I think that's important to note that, like, I mean, again, like, we are the brand, we are the representation. And I think, to your point, like, I've utilized social media, like, for my like my own level of influence. But like, what makes me the most excited is when people come to me and say, I came to a Southern game because I saw you post X, Y, and Z. I now want to be more involved with Southern because I see you and your friends doing the X, Y, and Z. And so we have the capital already within us to modernize and brand and be ambassadors for our institution. We're just not maximizing it to our fullest potential. And part of that is about shifting mindsets. And the hardest thing to do to change and scale systems is shifting mindsets. Mm-hmm. And so as a collective, we have to continue to push at it. We have to continue to push at the importance of it. We have to continue to push at the importance of modernization and living in the times that we're living in. And so I think it's just it's our duty and our responsibility to keep showing up, to keep talking about it until we shift it. And if you can't, I tell people all the time, control the controllables. So like collectively, we can continue to move the needle for the branding and marketing for our institution, even if that means leaving people behind.
Hey. For them old heads, get with the program. And for the youngsters, if you just trying to hold on to a job, go somewhere else. Once again, this is like a renaissance.
Yeah.
It's time to take Southern to the next level. We got everything right here in front of us, yet we're not capitalized on it. And once again, when I heard that branding and marketing piece yesterday during the board meeting and there was nothing presented, I'm telling you, it really broke my heart. And it just let me know why we are where we are right now, because we do not understand. Tremel, once again, before we go, we got to get out of here real quick. Tell the people how they can be a part of the Southern University Quarterback Club.
Southern University Quarterback, SouthernUniversityQBClub.com, as well as Instagram, Southern University Quarterback Club, Facebook, all of the social channels. Go Jags.
My man Tremel Howard is the president of Southern University Quarterback Club, as well as sitting on the committee for the next Southern University system president. Man, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, let's take a break. We come back on the side. We'll talk about some SWAC basketball. Regular season ends today. Stay tuned. We'll be back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Marching band from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The Southern University marching band is led by drum major Lewis Primetime Broadway Jr. Show him some love. The human jukebox will now take you through a precision drill under the sound The SU band will now do the midfield drill to the two. Lovely. put your hands together for the fabulous dancing dolls as they jam to the And now, moving under the amazing trailblazing 360 steps per minute. One of the many reasons why when you say Southern University marching band, it means excitement. And that only just to let you know that they're the best. The Southern University marching band is simply America's finest. So sit back.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to you. I am Perry White. Wake up. Glad to have you guys with us. It's the last Saturday of February. And man, we come to the end of Black History Month. But guess what? I'm black. Every day is Black History Day, month, hour, second. It don't matter. For those out there didn't know, today is the last regular season game for basketball and SWAC play. Southern University men and women will be taking on Bethune-Cookman today. And, of course, you know, I got to talk to my man. He cooler than the other side of the pillow. I love to see him when he in his coaching zone and just talking to him here on the radio. He's the head basketball coach at Southern University for the women's team. My man, Coach Carlos Funches. What's up, Coach?
Hey, Perry. Good morning. Good morning, Jaguar Nation.
Good morning, man. How you feeling this morning?
Hey, ready to get out here and try to get another win, Perry.
Let's talk about that.
We're trending in the right direction, so we need to pile up some more wins here down the stretch.
I talked about that earlier in the show, talking about now it's important because we're talking about seeding as we get ready to head into the SWAC basketball tournament. And let's look at the two games before we get into today. Southern versus Texas Southern. You guys were able to get a victory 66-54 against Texas Southern. You shot 24 of 60 for 40%, 7 of 13 from the three-point line, shooting 54%, and 11 of 22 shooting 50% from the free throw line. You got a victory against them. Then we took on Prairie View. 60-45 in this ball game, 18 of 55, coach shooting 33% from the field, 2 of 12 from the three-point line, shooting 17%, and 23 of 30 shooting 73% from the free throw line. And then we come home, right? After all of that, we're back at home. We take on Grambling, 59-45 last week. Catch you guys up on that. 18 of 56 for the Jaguars, shooting 32%, 4 of 13 shooting 31% from the three-point line, and 19 of 29 shooting 66% from the free throw line. And then, of course, the Thursday night thriller against Florida A&M, 80-61. The Jaguars women's basketball team picking it up, shooting 28 of 65, shooting 43% from the field. 5 of 10, coach, from the three-point line, shooting 50%, and 19 of 29 from the free throw line, shooting 66%. And that sets up the big game today as we end regular season senior day against Bethune-Cookman. You're talking about picking up some wins. You've been able to do it on the road and at home, man. It's been tough, but, hey, this has been a knockout, drag-out type of year on the women's side.
Oh, it has been. It's going to be really, really competitive. Anybody can beat you any given night, so we're going to go out and try to execute. And we're doing a much better job, I think, of executing and getting the looks that we want offensively and defensively, making our adjustments on our own on the court.
Senior day, let's give the ladies their just due, their respect, who give us the names of our seniors, and you know, this will be their last one in the mini dome.
Well, Jalea Reed, she transferred in. She's our starting two guard. She'll be graduating, actually getting her master's degree this summer. Damani Lagway, she's another young lady that'll be getting her jersey today. You look at Zaria Hurst, who will be getting her jersey, but we expect her to be back next year. Olivia Delancey. Another young lady, Deshante Edwards, who's the cornerstone of our program. You know, it's going to be sad to see her leave because I think she's one of the best defensive stoppers in the country. So we're going to be losing some talent, and we're going to have to replace some people. But I think we have opportunity to be strong again next year if we can return our core unit.
Looking at this program, it's been one of those up and down years, but nonetheless, you have continuously had Southern University women's basketball team in the conversation. You guys won the regular season last year, but this year you're still right there in the fight. No doubt about it. One of the best teams still in this conference. Aside from that 5-second violation against A&M, hey, that thing could have swung another way. But at the end of the day, all of these teams are going to make their way to Atlanta for the SWAC basketball women's tournament. And for you, looking back at this season, what have you seen through conference play as you get ready to end things out from your team through the up and downs and being able to battle those losses and bounce back from them?
Well, that's the big thing. Like you said, being able to bounce back from close losses, just sticking together and continuing to work and continue to grind each and every day just to try to get better. And I've really seen a lot of improvement here in the last probably week or so. Not just during game time, but in practice. I think we have a really good understanding now of what we're trying to do on both ends of the court, and hopefully that'll carry over to these last 3 games and going into the tournament.
You know, let's go through the SWAC women's basketball standings currently. And I'm going to ask you some questions about some of these teams because you've seen them all. Prairie View at the bottom, 0-16 in conference play. Bethune-Cookman, 4-12 in conference play. Texas Southern, 5-11 in conference play. Mississippi Valley women's basketball, 5-10 in conference play. How about Florida A&M, our opponent on Thursday, 6-10 in conference play. Jackson State, Grambling, and UAPB all tied at 8-7 in conference play. In third place, Southern and Alabama State, both locked up at 11-4. Then you look at Alcorn, 12-3, Alabama A&M, 14-1. You've seen them all, and I know we don't give opponents credit, but you got to give me, Coach, the toughest opponent thus far that just created a matchup nightmare for you guys that you said, man, that's a really good ball club out of these teams in the conference thus far.
Well, Perry, it's so much parity in the league. If you don't come to play each and every night, and you turn the basketball over and you make a lot of mistakes and you miss some shots, if you don't box out, you don't rebound, it's at least 8 or 9 teams that can beat you. You know, of course, the ones at the top, the Alabama A&M, the Alcorn, Alabama State, those teams are all of them are well coached, and they're going to be disciplined in what they do. So you have to be disciplined in what you do and try to exploit some mismatches and things like that. But they're all tough, and any one of them can beat you.
Looking at today's opponent with Bethune-Cookman, what do they do to try to offset what you bring to the table?
Well, they're a lot like us. To be honest with you, they're going to be extremely deep. They're going to play 10 to 11 players. They're going to try to wear you down. They're going to run that sets, and they really have people that can shoot the ball. So I expect them to shoot a lot of threes and play some small ball and things like that. So we're going to have to rebound. We're going to have to bank it down on the block some and try to get some easy buckets and get to the free throw line.
Yeah, Bethune-Cookman coming in today's contest on a 4-game losing streak, losing 66-57 to Alcorn, 61-60 to Bama State, 55-43 to A&M, and 71-68 in overtime against Grambling. That's a tough stretch looking at. They just played the top 3 teams in the conference along this 4-game losing streak, and they've been right there just knocking on the door. So it shows, regardless of the record, like you just said, Coach, anybody can beat anybody on any given day. And when you look at Bethune-Cookman, they're going to bring in a tough team. Only 6 wins overall on the season. That's 6-23. But as always, you can't never look at a record of a team. You got to throw it out the window because you don't want to be on the other side of how did that happen to us. Now, looking forward to the conference tournament, Coach. The seeding is going to matter today once all the games are wrapped up and the SWAC begins to put this thing in order. Is it any seed that you're looking at that, you know, you think is favorable or you don't care? Give me one and we're going to play.
Yeah, I mean, you want to finish in the top 2 or 3 for sure, always, because that's going to give you advantage, especially if you finish first or second, because you're going to get a day off. You'll play a Wednesday and skip Thursday and then play Friday, Saturday. Anything lower than that 2 seed, you're going to have to win 3 games in 3 days. So, you know, we're just going to try to take care of our business, and whatever happens, just happens, and try to complete this season with hopefully 3 wins.
You know, I look at the mindset last year. You guys wrapped up the regular season and the conference tournament as a champ. Then you do something no SWAC women basketball team has done ever. You went and won an NCAA game, and then what the momentum that did for not only the program but the conference. But as you get your teams prepared, as they say, for the March Madness, but these tournaments, 3 wins, you hear a win here, you there. It's different from a season, going through the season and the conference season mindset. What's the mindset that you then switch over once it gets to this part of the season with those young ladies to let them know this is a different type of game now, what we're playing for?
Well, you have to be locked in. You have to be locked into your scouting report. You have to know your personnel, and you have to be extremely disciplined when it comes down to it. You don't want to beat yourself. So you want to come out and you want to force other teams to have to beat you. Again, you don't want to turn the basketball over or have some breakdowns defensive and things like that. You have to be locked in, and everybody on the court has to know what they're doing and make adjustments on their own and things like that. So it comes down to discipline and just mental focus.
You gonna shed a tear today for some of those seniors, man?
Oh yeah, always, always. I mean, I love my kids. They give me everything that they have. So, and they give each other everything that they have. So, we're gonna go down swinging, and we're gonna give it our best shot. And hopefully, get a win today and celebrate. Probably take off tomorrow, and then we leaving Monday because we play Tuesday and then right back Thursday. So it's just a quick turnaround.
Quick turnaround, Coach, but you built for it. You one of my favorite guys, point blank, period, on that campus. Just the sheer work that you've done with that program. A lot of people thought they didn't know where it was going to go once Sandy Pugh moved on, but guess what? You picked it up and elevated it and taken it to a whole nother level. The wins that you have picked up, some of the biggest wins in school history, when I talk about on the athletic side, especially against those opponents, man, I appreciate you for all that you do, and you continuously make us proud by saying Southern has one of the best women's basketball programs around, man. Thank you for all that you do, Coach, and I always want to tell you that every time I talk to you, because no matter what's on the roster, you guys find a way. You look around, there's new faces, there's new names, but you still find a way in order to keep them being champions and playing like champions, man. That means a lot for those of us who support the program and really do love some Southern University women's basketball.
Well, I appreciate it, Perry, but I couldn't do it without my staff. Jeremy Bowden, he works extremely hard. Patrice Carter, I mean, we're working with a 3-person staff right here. So, and we give it 100%. We try to go that extra mile, and I think our kids see that, and they in turn try to go that extra mile. But they do a tremendous job helping prepare the kids, not just on the court, but also in that classroom. Coach Carter is in there tutoring kids on her own, on her off time a lot of times. So, it's things like that that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see, but, we try to give them 100%.
I laugh with Coach Jeremy all the time. I don't know how he has a voice. As much yelling from the middle of the bench that he does, and you can hear him in any corner, any area of the mini dome. He must drink a lot of tea at night after the game. I don't know how he keep a voice, Coach.
Hey, man, he's passionate. He's passionate. I tell him sometimes, Coach, just calm down. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. But he loves the kids, and he's going to give them 100% every day.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you for coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule. You're preparing for a game, senior day, a lot of emotions, and as well as getting ready for a SWAC basketball tournament. So I appreciate you for coming on. I hope I get to be talking to you next Saturday as we get ready to play for a championship. But I'm going to sit back, let you do your thing, and watch as a fan, and I appreciate all that you do, Coach.
All right. Thank you, and thank you, Jaguar Nation, man.
All right, that's the voice of Coach Carlos Funches, the head women's basketball coach over at Southern University. Let's take a break, guys. We'll come back on the other side. We'll talk about some men's basketball and closing things out against the #1 team in the conference, Bethune-Cookman. We'll be back. More to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
For the first time in the 79-year history of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Elite Championship game determines the overall champion today. Live from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, it's the champions of the East, Jackson State, taking on Southern, the champs from the West. Hello, everybody. George Johnson along with Charles Mann. And I got to tell you, a great poet once said, this is the way it's supposed to be. And it is. Number 11 Southern taking on number 15 Jackson State. Both programs have won 3 SWAC titles over the decade. So it's only fitting in the first SWAC championship game, we determine the program of the decade. We've got a lot of offense out on the field. And yet this guy right here, he's going to tell you this game's all about D.
It's always all about D, George. You know that. It's always all about
an
D.
all-pro defensive end is going to tell you that. When you think about Jackson State, this is a team that is very potent offensively, but defensively, they've led the SWAC throughout most of the year, and they've got the best player in defense in the SWAC, and that's Tommy Head.
Tommy Head. Get used to saying that name. You'll say it all day. He'll be all over the field. He's always around the football. He's the leading tackler on this team. He also has 5.5 sacks.
At one point this year, Southern led the nation in scoring defense. Then they ran into Florida A&M. They've got a lot of guys out there that can get it done. But at the top of the list is DeMarcus Miller.
DeMarcus Miller, the linebacker coach, Terrence Graves, told me there's one word to describe this kid, and that is relentless. He's only 5'10", 285 pounds. He makes a lot of plays, though.
Relentless, appropriate word for our third member of the broadcast team, and that's Joe Claire, who's standing by down on the sideline. Joe?
Yes, indeed. I'm down here on the field capturing all the pageantry and revelry that is black college football. Birmingham, Alabama is a lovely city. This is the inaugural SWAC championship in their city, so they came out to have a good time. I will be covering the bands, the cheerleaders, shout-outs, all of that kind of stuff. Back to you guys up top.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. You know, earlier this year, Southern beat Jackson State, their 4th straight win over the Tigers. But what's most impressive about Southern, they haven't lost a conference game in 25 outings. They put it on the line against Jackson State.
We look at the starting lineups brought to you by Western Union Money Transfer, the fastest way to send money worldwide. You saw the backs. Here's your offensive line. Damon Nivens is a first-team All-SWAC member. Defensively, there's your starting lineups for Jackson State's defense. Chandler, Tommy Head, Edward Reese, pretty good middle linebacker. Rashard Anderson is a professional prospect, and they say he will be in the NFL next year. It is your starting lineup, brought to you by Western Union. Mark Washington is your quarterback, Destry Wright, the all-time leading rusher in school history, is the tailback. Jeremiah Todd is in.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning. I'm Perry White. We're talking some SWAC basketball. We jump over to the men's side. I want to thank Coach Carlos Funches coming on, talking about the women as they wrap up with Senior Day today. Men will also have Senior Day today, and nobody better to talk about that basketball team than the head guy himself, my man, Coach Kevin Johnson. Good morning, Coach KJ.
Perry, good morning. Good morning.
Man, let's talk about it. I want to jump right into it with you. It's Senior Day, man. Give us the name of those seniors that's going to be playing their last home game in the mini dome today, man.
Always a special day, Senior Day. And, well, I tell you, you never know what Senior Day brings, but this will be the last home game for seniors. Mike Jacobs, Cam Ambry, P.J. DeBowl, and A.J. Barnes. And then we have 3 other seniors that will not be in action today. And I hate that, but Joe Manning is still out, foot's in a boot. With a deep bone bruise. Malik Abel-Gawad is out today he has a slight tear in his calf muscle. And Damari Jones is out today he's burying his father. So, we got 4 guys we'll recognize them all, but 4 guys will play today and 3 guys will be with us in spirit.
Yeah. Man, that's a tough way for those guys, but, man, we've been right there every step of the way with you and as well as with them. Let's look back on Thursday night, 82-71 victory for the Rattlers of Florida A&M over us. Charlie Ward comes into town. Southern, you guys shoot 22 of 59, shooting 37% from the field, 9 of 25 from the three-point line, shooting 36%, and 18 of 28 from the free throw line, shooting 64%. This thing in the first half was about neck and neck, but somewhere it flipped in the second half, Coach. Walk us down through this and just your thoughts on this game.
Before we get to the second half, I got to start with the end of the first half. We're battling those guys, and we know we're a little bit undermanned coming into the game, but I thought a game that our guys had prepared well for. They were very focused on the game plan, and we were doing what we needed to do. And all of a sudden, right before the end of the first half, we get a chance to go up 4, and we missed 3 free throws in the row right there before halftime, and it I think created in my mind a hangover that we never came out of. And you would come out of the locker room to start the second half, and we miss our first 9 shots, and we go 1 for our first 11, and that was the game right there. So nevertheless, guys battled back, towards the end, but I thought that game was lost in the first 8 minutes of the second half.
What'd you say to your team when you look at being outscored 50-38 in the second half, and it went into halftime 33-32? What do you say to your team after that type of loss at home to get them back on track? Because today's opponent is Bethune-Cookman, number 1 in the conference. You guys handed them one of their rare losses over in Daytona Beach. So I know Coach Reggie Theus is looking at this like we got to get a little payback. But when you look at Bethune-Cookman today and what you had to say to your guys, talk to me 2 ways. What do you say to get the team back on track? And what do you see that makes Bethune-Cookman the number 1 team? What do they do that seems to really get teams fits?
Yeah, well, first of all, what we got to do is basically, Gary, we got to do our job, right? So it doesn't matter whether the ball is going in the hole or not, but you gotta guard the ball. You got to close out. You got to help each other. You have to have a certain type of energy on the defensive end. And, and we didn't have that in the second half. If we had it, that game would have been different. So to me, you know what they say, offense is great, but if you don't defend, then you got no chance. And so that's what we got to do. We got to do a better job of doing our jobs in the second half. That's what it comes down to, right? And so, in regards to Bethune, they have a very talented roster. They're a really explosive team, but they're also a team who kind of struggles to maintain a high level of play. They took it on the chin on the Mississippi road trip, and look, they're gonna come in here fired up, but we got to do our jobs, and that starts on the defensive end.
Let's go through the SWAC conference rankings real quick, and we'll work all the way to the top before I get ready to let you go. Coach, Mississippi Valley State at the bottom at 1-14 in conference play. 3 teams all tied at 6-9. Alcorn State, Alabama State, as well as Grambling 6-9 in conference play. Prairie View is at 7-9 in conference play. Jackson State 8-7. FAMU 9-7, along with Texas Southern, Alabama A&M, and Southern, along with UAPB in a 3-way in second place at 9-6, and Bethune-Cookman at 13-3. Coach, I don't think I've ever, and I just had this conversation off air, I don't think I've seen the conference quite just like anybody literally can beat anybody like this in such a long time, maybe ever.
You know what, man? It has been a very competitive conference season. Look, Perry, a great year for college basketball in the SWAC. A great year.
It is.
If you think about this, there's 365 Division I schools that play basketball. And you have 60% of those that are playing meaningless games this time of year. How about the SWAC? Everybody's in a meaningful game, right?
That's right.
So, that speaks to, again, our league. And I'm always bragging on the quality of, coaching in our league. And, hey, look, we'd love to be at the top, but, we're right there in the bottleneck, in the thick of things. So I don't think you can ask for any more than that. So we got another opportunity today to try to improve our position, and that's what it's about. It's about today and these seniors.
Bethune-Cookman wrapping up the regular season with their first regular season championship since joining the SWAC. Now seeding is everything as we get ready to go into the SWAC tournament, because once again, you got Jackson State 8-7, FAMU, Texas Southern 9-7, and then you have 3 teams, A&M, Southern, and UAPB 9-6. The seeding can go crazy real quick by the end of the night.
They say 2 through 7 is up for grabs. I don't even want to think about 7, but at the end of the day, you gotta take care of your business, and and today's business is Bethune. Yeah. So that's where our focus is.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a busy schedule ahead of you, getting these guys prepared. A very tough contest against a hell of a Bethune-Cookman basketball team. But guess what? We got a hell of a Southern University men's basketball team as well. and we're going to have to turn it up in order to send them away. Hey, they may have won the regular season, but we got to let them know you can't just walk up in here and think this is your home as well. So, Coach, I wish you guys good luck today. Go ahead.
We appreciate you, Perry. But look, as always, man, we need that nation. Boy, we need you. We need you. Y'all been there all year for us. We got one more time to hype this thing up. You know, come early, stay late, wear that blue and gold, and get on those doggone referees, Perry.
I've been trying to do my best, too, over in my little corner. Hey, I know I got them when they turn around and shake their head like, no, that wasn't a foul. Hey, they listening. So I'm doing my part, Coach, because I see you down there fired up, too. I ride off your energy.
well, we appreciate you for that. Let's get after those guys today.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Coach.
All right, you're welcome. Thanks. Bye.
That is the voice of Coach Kevin Johnson. He's the head men's basketball coach over at Southern. He has up against a tight schedule today. So let's get ready to take an early break and we come back. Is it early? What time is it? I don't even keep up. All right, let's just take a break. It don't matter. And we come back, my man Tremel Howard is going to join me back here on the show. And we're going to continue some conversation more about just our beloved Southern University. All right, so y'all stay tuned. And if you want to call in, 225-499-1073, 225-499-1073 is the number. We'll be back. Stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal.
The excitement is in the air.
And again, he's going to throw the football. Completes this one to Daniel Guy. Guy stood on his feet. Guy's going to go in. Touchdown! Brian Reynolds will come in and attempt the PAT, which is up, and it is good. On the record books at Jackson State. This time, nothing doing, and here comes your man, DeMarcus Miller.
Yeah.
Miller led the club with 17 tackles for a loss, as Reynolds will set up for the field goal attempt. This one will be from 20 yards out. He's 3 of 3 between 20 and 29 yards out. Kick is up, kick is good. So we've come to the end of the first quarter with Jackson State leading 10-3. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again, throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes, makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. And every time you think Southern struggles, they come back, they make a play. They've done it all year long. Kick is up, kick is good. Second down and a yard to go. Again, they give it to Lewis. Lewis finds room. Lewis still on his feet. Lewis making a move to the outside. He's inside the 25, the 10, the 5. What a run by Ryan Lewis. 69-yard run for Ryan Lewis. And how about this? Kicks up, kicks good.
Halftime, George Johnson along with Charles Mann. Southern trailed in this football game 10-7. Then they reel off 14 straight points, and they do it with the big plays.
And that's something that we didn't think would happen, at least from Southern's perspective. They've been able to methodically go down the field on people and win ball games, not the big plays. You saw the big play by Ryan Lewis running 69 yards, the nice throw by Terrence Levy. This is something that I don't think Jackson State thought they would see in Southern either, and they go into halftime down by 7 points.
Jackson State came in the best defense out of the SWAC. And if you take a look at the highlights, you will see that this club, and I'm talking about Southern, was really able to capitalize on a couple of miscues, and the big plays are the result of it.
And this is Daniel Guy with a nice stiff arm to Bradley Pittman there. And he runs that ball 36 yards inside for a touchdown, makes it 7-3. And then Terrence Levy, quarterbacking, throws a big bomb to Michael Hayes, who gets by Rashard Anderson and waltzes into the end zone for a 69-yard reception. And then the big run by Ryan Lewis, a scat back for Southern, races 69 yards for the score. And that's where it stands right now, 17-10. Southern is on top.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning. I'm Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Good morning to everybody listening on Talk 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area. I hear you. Appreciate you. Turn me up. Some of y'all might be walking the dog this morning, washing the car, about to read your newspaper, sipping on your coffee, or you just stretching because you just had a long night. It don't matter. Thank you. You got up this morning. Let's thank the big person upstairs, and got my man Tremel here in the building. Tremel Howard, he's the president of the Southern University Quarterback Club. He also sits on the committee that'll be looking to hire our next Southern University system president. You know, in that first hour, we had an opportunity to talk about branding and marketing. And I think the biggest thing is changing the mindsets. You and I fall into this young generation of what I believe is next up at Southern University. You know, even though the youngsters think we the old heads, in actuality, we not the old heads. So don't accept I'm telling you, you big bro. Do not accept that.
I'm accepting. You know, it's funny because we were on campus the other day, and the kids on campus called me Mr. T. And so like to actually hear people say that, and we were walking at homecoming last week, and we had like our chairs. You know, back in the day, we didn't walk in on homecoming with no chairs. And it's like, oh, we trying to get out. Oh, sorry, kid. You know, I accept it. I'm with it. I'm the unk, and I'm okay with it.
But you know, the biggest thing is transition of generations, and sometimes you have a generation who's held on to the lock, to the key to the lock for so long, they hold it and don't want to let it go. And it's got to be their way, and it's gonna be my way. And you know, when I was younger, I would always hear like older people saying, you know, this generation, y'all just don't know about when it was my generation. And I'm getting older, and I'm kind of seeing it, but I'm a lot more open to understanding the younger generation, because although we may not, you know, be on par with each other, there's still a lot to learn, especially if you're going to keep up in this world today. Young people can teach you some things that you otherwise did not know. Even some just little side tricks on your phone or something in life. And so for me, it's always good to be open-minded, no matter, because older people, I learn a lot. You know, and older people teach me the wisdom. The younger people teach you whatever else you need to go along with it, and you mold that together. But we really got to do, I think, in my opinion, a better job, and particularly at Southern, and being able to bring all of these generations together and making it work for all of us, because I think that's what will help take us to the next level. It ain't got to be the way it's been for however long, because these people been in position for however long, and they don't want to hear it. And who are you? And the question, your title, and what do you do? Let's just do what's best.
Yeah, I think that's an unfortunate part of just about leaders, and especially when you're in bringing in younger leaders. Oftentimes leaders, and oftentimes leaders, particularly in spaces like this, they don't honor. You feel like you have to make your way or pave a way. Like you have to have a certain amount of age. You have to have been around for certain. Like you can literally learn anything from anybody. Like I learned things from my 4-year-old niece, like just about just how she's living life as a 4-year-old, and talking to her about school. And so I think that there has to be an openness to like learning from all developing like ages and groups and people and experiences, because that's what makes us whole. Like Southern is not a university of just oneness. And leadership is also not sameness. Like leadership is about listening to understand in order to grow the institution. And so we have to do better at it. It's just like, because I've heard people tell me when I ran for president of the quarterback club, people's like, it's not your time. You're too young. Like you need to wait your time. Like when I ran for school board here in Baton Rouge, people's like, it's not your time. Like you need to wait. So until we get into a place where like, there's no such thing as like waiting for, especially in this generation.
You know what this is about? A lot of people in the older generation, because there were not a lot of doors open, one had to wait such a long time. And I say older, I'm talking about black folks. For all my white folks out there listening, black folks, the doors was not always open for us. So you had to wait a long time, and when you finally got in there, you cherished it. But you realized the process. I had to do this for so many years. I had to do this and I had to do that. Well, doors have opened because of you, and we appreciate you for setting that foundation. But there are young black folks who are making strides just like yourself, that it didn't take 20, 30 years to make those strides for you to get to that place. And I think that's where, when they say it's not your time, we're holding that on to how long it took for them to get to their time. You got to understand, in today's time, it don't necessarily take that length anymore.
Well, and I think it's really about a power. And you mentioned earlier in your comments, Perry, it's like a power grab. But the real strength and power is like when you gather power, you empower other people, and like how many people you're bringing along with you. And my question to older leaders, most of the time I enter conversations for work, I'm always the youngest person in the room, is like, who are you bringing along with you to empower them with the wisdom and the energy that they're bringing to the table to change whatever systems that we're trying to change?
Somebody that's probably only gonna kiss their butt.
And that's the issue. I think people don't appreciate the ability to speak up and advocate on behalf of like things that are different. People don't appreciate uniqueness when you have a difference of opinion. Like we are not supposed to all have the same opinion. If I agree with you 100% of the time, we don't really need to be having conversations. And so like I think that that's just something we have to get over. And again, it's about shifting mindsets.
It is about shifting mindsets because the mindsets, college campuses are think tanks. College campuses are where you bring somebody, especially what Southern has done for 100+ years, of taking a diamond in the rough and polishing it and taking it and sitting it in the world. And when the rest of the world deemed it not valued or worthy, we found that value to make that whatever you want it to be, shining bright. We got to get back to that. I think for me, at some point, we got caught up into something else. And I think that's something else for a lot of our system and its operations are agendas personally.
Yeah.
And those personal agendas, because I say this all the time, and this ought to be on the shirt. My loyalty lasts with the institution and never the individual. The individual will come and go. The institution will be there forever. You know how many people in the grave right now over all of these years that have come and gone at Southern? Mm-hmm. And Southern is what? Still here for you and I and the next generation. So it's about what's the best for the university. And you're right. Constructive criticism was one of the things I really had to learn, especially in the political science department, because my professors taught me there are people going to be critical of what you do. Sometimes that being critical of what you do can be eye-opening for you to then realize, you know what? It's provoking a thought.
Correct.
It's provoking. Maybe I'm content and I didn't realize the world was changing around me. Maybe I'm content. I didn't realize how big social media is in the presence of the grand scheme of the world. To me, social media is just some little stuff because that's for me to post my kids and personal stuff. But if you don't know how to work it, you won't understand it. So if somebody's critical of it, you don't have the mindset to understand it. So instead of trying to figure out why they're being critical, you take it as a personal jab.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times when we criticize the university and leadership and whatever else, it turns like it's a personal jab, but not at all. It's strictly business. And we understand the nature of the business that is changing. And young folks our age got a lot of sense to be able to speak on things.
I mean, I think it's important to like surround yourself with some critical partners, like people who are actually critical of every single thing that you do. Like I have a friend circle, and we are super critical of like from what we wear to like how we act in relationships and all of these things. But critical partners are value in life if you really want to do something, if you really want to change systems. And I think that what has happened over time with our institution and with other institutions is that people have become comfortable. People have become comfortable in doing what they know how to do and doing that well. And I think the biggest areas of growth come when we make ourselves uncomfortable. And so as an institution, to really reach our next level, we have to collectively make ourselves uncomfortable. Like, how do we represent the institution? What are we saying about, like, how are we giving back to the institution? Like, if you are a graduate of Southern and all you do is sit around and be critical of the institution without pouring back into something of the institution, you're just as much as the problem as the people who you're criticizing. Have you talked to young people? Have you pulled a mentor into that? So there's a lot of people who allow, social media gives us an opportunity to be loud through a platform, but like, what are you actually doing to help the institution in ways that people may not even see all the time? There are things that I do for Southern that I never talk about, but it's because like I care about the longevity of Southern more than I care about individuals and their power structures. And so that's what I think, it's just important for us to be critical, but also critical with action.
And you know what's so funny about that? I do so much around Southern, and at Southern, people think I'm employed at Southern.
Same.
I'm not employed at Southern at all, but I know I'm doing the work where I'm around, and the same, like you said with you, where to the point you think you got to be getting paid to do what you're doing for the school. No, it's the love and it's the mission. The institution gave and provided us opportunities to better our lives and to create a new avenue for ourselves. And why not give back to that very institution? So I tell people all the time, that's where the passion come in at. And within that passion, I'm going to be critical because you and I both know we go places and we see things. We're not just there to be seen. We're going to see how it operates. What are they doing? I'm a system and structure guy. Everywhere I go, I promise you, I pay attention. I ask a million questions. I'll get on your nerves asking questions. I want to know how it's working because clearly there's something that caught my attention. Or I like how things are going. And I take them and say, I wonder how can we implement this in a small way here, there, and everywhere in order to create change that'll better help us.
Yeah, I mean, exposure is the best teacher, and I that's always my challenge to people. Like, especially when you're trying to change systems and institutions. Like, I work in advocacy, and like before I go to the Capitol here in Louisiana, I spent like a week in Georgia last year, just wanting to understand how they do things and what can I bring to Louisiana. And I don't know if enough people, and this is just like a Baton Rouge thing, I don't know if enough people are exposed to difference. And so when you're critical of them, they don't know because they haven't been exposed. And again, I'll say exposure is the best teacher. So how do we expose our institutions to other ways of thinking about how we do some of the same stuff that will grow and sustain the longevity of the institution is, I think, vitally important.
I think because it also becomes shocking when people hear me being critical of Southern from time to time here on this show, because they're so long, they're saying, don't say that out in the public. That ought to be kept in-house. That ought to been amongst us. Well, if I trust the process and pray about it, what's faith without works?
Did.
I mean, we just can't keep going along and going along and going along, and we constantly getting the same results. Our generation speak out. We're part of a social media generation. We're part of so much more than just the barbershop talk.
Yeah.
The conversation can go far beyond the barbershop now, the beauty shop, or wherever the case to be that those conversations used to have. And it's okay to rattle the cage sometime, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, I feel like as long as you can catch somebody's attention, we can change to create better. I'm okay with that. And that can get you from being content, because when you're stuck in your bubble and in your world, you only see it from that way and from that perspective. And you have associated yourself with so many people who refuse to tell you opposite because they just happy to be here.
Yeah, and I think that's really the part that I think is very, like, even with your conversations about last, with the things you talked about with the branding and marketing for Coach Falk, and like, your opinions on that, which I share some of those same sentiments. I do believe that there are some, like, there's enough people around to mitigate some of the things that people are experiencing to make the experience better. So, for example, with the Coach Falk thing, like, if we're not going to be able to see him like all over the social media and all of the things, like, there are ways for, in my opinion, that the department could have done a better job of mitigating us not physically seeing him. Like, so how are we still connecting people in the world of digital media to the coach that we have been so excited to happen? I like what I see around the athletic department and what's happening with the football program right now, even in the absence of Coach Falk. But like, there's a way to mitigate those things. And I think that, it's all about the push. And I think sometimes the only way that people push on things that you're advocating for is when things become public. And so people are not going to always like that. People are not going to always like your approach. For example, this is not a political show, but like, I'm a start person for certain candidates in a particular race right now, and people don't always like her approach. But again, sometimes that's what you have to do in order to move systems. And I truly believe that from the yard to the world is a real thing. And so how do we take our message from the yard to the world? And it's going to challenge us to be critical of ourselves and how we are accountable to the institution.
Who we got, Mike? Let's go to CJ. Good morning, CJ.
Good morning, Perry. Good morning, Mr. Howard. How you two fine gentlemen doing this morning?
How you doing, Mr. CJ?
Doing good, man. What you got for us,
Look,
CJ?
Perry, Perry, you got the right man on the show this morning. He knows everything. He does everything. He be at everything. The only question I got, what is the quarterback club doing to help our coach to get a quarterback to lead our team this year? We need a quarterback. So he's in the who's who. So if you can get him to answer or respond to that, I certainly would appreciate it. Thank y'all guys for coming on.
Thank you, CJ. That is a hell of a question. What the quarterback club doing to get us a quarterback? I tried one time. I ain't got us a quarterback at one time. What y'all doing to get us a quarterback?
Well, let me just tell you this. Thank you, Mr. CJ. Mr. CJ has been a good friend of mine for a very long time. And I love listening to Mr. CJ talk about all the things from school boards to Southern University. And so I think people often think that we are like the actual recruiters of the institution. Here, I can't tell you how many films that I get to review for like players, how many parents send me their kids' film. But what I can tell you is that we do have people that we're connected to within the institution, within the program, that if people send me film or something, I just send it directly to the people who, and I have gotten response from those families and for people who are trying to be or recruited by Southern who said that, thank you for at least showing the film because I did hear back something. So if there's film that you want, or there's a player that you think we should be engaging with, I had a coach call me from the LHSAA meeting last week from a particular school who wanted our institution to come over and recruit some of their players. And so if you send it to me, I send it to them. And so, yes, I know people have been talking about a quarterback. I mean, I think we do have some great recruits coming in at the freshman talent. I know in a win now world, people still think we need something else. But I'm excited about football. I don't know about you, Barry, but I'm excited about it.
It's the quarterback club job
to find a quarterback.
Get us a damn quarterback, okay? I'm just playing. But I get it. You
Yeah.
know, let's get ready to take a break. We come back on the other side. We'll continue more of the conversation. Got my man Jamel Howard in the studio. Y'all stay tuned. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Washington second, but he's intercepted right there. This time the inside handoff.
And the ball was dropped, and
Picked up
Tommy
by
Head.
Here's Taylor in the pocket, looking downfield and looking for Leroy Fields, and this one looks intercepted, and it is.
He's played a lot tougher ever since. And it's a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
It's
pass.
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable Michael Hayes. Hayes now with 187 yards receiving. 169-yard touchdown, 181-yard touchdown.
And Southern's came up with all the big plays.
They lead by 14. And that one is intercepted by Darden. Darden looking for some room, and Guyon will finally drag him down. But we start the 4th right after this. 2nd down and 20 after the penalty.
Oh, he's got a man wide open.
Going into the corner. Touchdown! Reynolds attempting the point after. It's good. A 32-yard field goal. Kick is up. Kick is good.
This is a great football game.
We knew it would be, though. Torrey Thigpen got us out of our seats.
And this is the punt return by Torrey Thigpen. We were just talking about we haven't seen him. He breaks 2 tackles and runs up the sideline. He has great blocking, but gets pushed out of bounds on about the 1-yard line.
And touchdown Jackson State.
The game is a game of momentum swings. Snap is good. The kick is up.
Line driver. Yes, sir.
The ball up to the big receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out of bounds at the 10-yard line. An I formation. Oh! Fumble Levy. He kicks it and falls on top of it.
Touchdown. Receiver that has not seen much action comes up big.
1st and 10. Washington over the middle, intercepted. On his own play of the game is Michael Hayes with 8 receptions, 266 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
And that was
the last one was unbelievable.
In the back of y'all, me and Doug about to go party with the rest of the people. All right, I see y'all.
And another interception. And there's Pete Richardson right there. Made the adjustments a couple of weeks ago against Grambling to beat Doug Williams' team. Makes the adjustments time in and time out. And
all right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White. Good morning. Glad to have you guys with us. Everybody listening on Talk 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area. Everybody watching on our YouTube and Facebook Live. Be sure to keep up with the Jaguar Journal across all social media. We're on TikTok. We're on X. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Mike got us on Twitch TV. So for all my Twitch TV people, we on there. We on there, Mike? We rocking and rolling. Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Got my man Jamel Howard here in the studio. He's the president of the Southern University Quarterback Club, as well as serving on the current committee, searching for our next system president in the Southern University system. Jamel, for you, you know, as we get ready to close things out, man, what is something you just want to tell the Jaguar Nation, the people out there, in terms of where you stand, your love for Southern, and what you're looking for in the future? Because once again, you are one of those next leaders up in terms of our generation. And I think a lot of times and we talked about it, there's a generation of a population of folks who sometimes have a hard time handing you that key to that lock and say, you know what, no, I worked 45 with Mike Epps. You said, let me tell you about my money, player. Yeah. I worked real hard for my money. They feel like that, but you got to open the door. And if you don't do nothing else, don't take a lot of that information and knowledge to the grave with you. Share it with us so then we can build upon what we know to help the next generation.
I mean, I was always told as a kid that if there's not a table for one, if there's not a table for you, you pull up a lawn chair or you create your own. And so I think that that's part of my journey with Southern University. At every turn where I felt like there was not a seat for us, I created something for the institution. And so I truly believe in the message of from the yard to the world, like being a part of Southern University and this family. I've been a part of this family since I was at Southern Lab. And so the yard has literally molded me into who I am. And so I literally wake up every day figuring out how can I take that message to the world. And so that is my message to young folks. Show up, be involved, and don't complain from the sidelines. Every day when we watch football, there's what the coaches call a lot of Monday morning coaches. But if you're not in the game, you can't really coach about what's happening. And so my message to folks is to find ways to show up. It doesn't take a lot of money to show up. You don't have to be like super fans like Perry and I and traveling all over the country to like softball and golf tournaments in California. But how can I show up for my institution to ensure that I'm taking our message from the yard to the world? And so that is my message, is like, we love this institution, but let's not love it from the sidelines. Get in the game.
I got a question with you, because I worked for the Alumni Federation for some years, and I did leadership conferences at every campus in the Southern system. I did a national conference in Chicago, and everywhere I went, when it came to that, I was always the youngest person.
Absolutely.
Where, in your opinion, and I had this conversation with them when I was in the Alumni Federation, and the issue was always trying to put all your resource and energy into this certain group of older alums who seem to have this capital behind them. And I'm like, although we're going, to me, you're constantly running the well dry. You're constantly going to these same people doing these same things, but there's thousands of young folks out there that are building something up for themselves where they may not be there, but if we engage them now, we can do something. In your opinion, where do you think is the disconnect, especially when you talk about alums from that older generation to thousands of us out there as the younger alums?
Yeah, so I think that there's a couple of disconnects. The first disconnect, I think, is that young people need to realize that when you are an alumni, it doesn't mean old. Alumni just means that you've matriculated through an institution and it is now you transition into being an alum once you receive your degree. And so I think that that's first. Like, young people have to know that there is a place for them. And again, I think even when you feel like there is no seats at the table for you, how do we create them? And so what Khadijah, shout out to my co-founder, co-producer, Khadijah, she's now in Houston. She used to work for the institution, but we co-founded 40 Under 40. And so we were looking for ways for a young alum to engage with the institution and with alumni, and we started 40 Under 40. When I was in the home chapter, we started a program called High School Mania. There were people in Baton Rouge saying that there was no connections to Southern. So how do you create what's not there? And so I think for us, I have shown up in a way to where now that what I feel like people who didn't respect me now have a level of respect for me because I keep showing up. Even when doors are closed, I keep showing up. Even when they say I can't, I keep doing. And so like I was sitting in an RV last week talking to, and I called them the two sisters, but they're older alumni who have a lot of capital behind them. And who've been very responsive to just like issues around Southern. And I sat in their RV and we just had a candid conversation just about the gaps between generations of alumni. And so it's like that. And so when people see you continuously showing up, even in the midst of barriers that are being created by this very institution that you love, they have no other way but to respect you. And so again, I think showing up is vitally important. And let's create together. Like, how can we collectively control the controllables? And if we don't have tables for us, create them for ourselves.
Yeah, I keep showing up and kicking in doors, and they like, what the hell is? Where does he keep coming from? I thought we put padlocks and bolts and keep kicking in the door. And you're right. Consistency is what I've always been taught. You have to be consistent. The moment you give up, they're gonna say we won. And there's people who want you to give up because then you disrupt the very thing, as you said earlier, that has gotten them content to plant the flag and say, I'm gonna be here. I ain't going nowhere. Who gonna say something? I created this circle of people who gonna be right here with me. They ain't gonna say nothing. So we have to be able to continue to be boisterous about what we do, and as you said, putting in the work. So much to the point, people think you work at the institution.
Every day. What department you work in? I don't work at Southern.
Same here, man. You still work over there at Southern? Like, I just be like, yeah. But at one time, I've done everything on that campus, from working with Airmark, setting up catering, to working in the Alumni Federation, now with the band, doing work with athletics. I mean, any possible way I've had my hand in the pot somewhere at Southern, and it's given me a whole different perspective. As they say, the process, I've seen it. I've seen how the sausage is made. I've seen it in every different way. I see what that chicken look like before you get it on your plate. A lot of people don't want to know how you wring that chicken neck and pluck them feathers. They don't want to see that part. You don't want to see that part, but that's the part to get it on your table for you to love it. And so for me, that's the very thing that I think why you and I give our all to Southern University, man. And we make sure that at the end of the day, critical or not, we still gonna show up. And
Absolutely.
I think that was the message. It ain't saying it from afar. It ain't throwing a rock and hiding your hand. It's I said it, I threw it, I'm here, and I'm willing to go to work, and let's see what can we do. Don't take it personal, take it as business. And because with the Falk thing, a lot of people took it personal.
I think so too.
They took it personal, but if you don't understand the passion, the drive, and the love for the institution, and as you said, realizing that it don't have to be the way that I said it to a T, but there are, if you take a step back from a business perspective, you are missing out on opportunities. And it's not just with a coach, it's with a lot of opportunities at Southern, which is why we're looking for a new president. You sit on that committee. There's opportunities out there, and as Dennis Shields said, the former past president at Southern University for the system, said, we have to change Southern and take us into a modern university. And for those of you who don't know, that means something in the grand scheme of higher education. Students have options. It ain't Southern and Grambling no more. They can go wherever they want to go, and trust me, they're going there because their friends are talking about it. They've seen it on social media and whatever else.
Yeah, and I think that's important, and that's why I think one of my my focus areas over these last few years has been like actually being on campus with the students who are currently attending Southern. So shout out to my guys at the Men's Federation. I've been able to serve as like a volunteer advisor with them over this past year, and it's just really understanding their perspective about the institution and their experience, and then it's helping them understand the value of like, because soon they're going to be the generation to keep the institution alive. And so there are some good things happening at Southern.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always doomsday at our institution.
Not at all.
And I think that, to our point earlier, we have to get back to the point of owning the narrative around the institution and ensuring that we're taking the message from not just the yard, but actually to the world, to increase enrollment, increase retention, and all the things, increase investment into our institution, because we are the ambassadors. Mm-hmm. So how we feel about Southern and the message that we take about Southern is what the public is going to perceive it to be. And so show up and let's own our own narrative.
Give them once again for the people who want to join the quarterback club.
If you want to join the quarterback club, Southern University QBclub.com. We also have a page linked to the Southern University Foundation page. We're also on all social channels at SUQB Quarterback Club.
I love to have the conversation this morning, man. I appreciate you for taking the time and coming on. You gonna be at 225 Fest today?
I will be all over the place today. I will be at 225 Fest jigging the pieces. I will be at the basketball game, and I will also be at the baseball game tonight.
For everybody out there, thank you for listening on Talk 107.3 FM, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every Saturday morning. We're live. And for everybody watching on our YouTube and Facebook Live, good morning. Thank you. Be sure to keep up once again the Jaguar Journal. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook, as well as on Twitch TV, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For myself, Perry White, my man Mike, CJ Gidry, and thank you, Tremel, for coming in this morning. Thank you to Coach Funches, Coach Johnson, as well as Coach Williams. How about softball doing a hell of a job? So you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Enjoy yourself. What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.